Today we're talking to Mike from North Carolina, and I'd like you to tell your story as to why you changed to the wet cleaning system at Graff.
Basically, I knew wet cleaning was out there for quite a while, and I knew that there were many companies out there that sold chemicals, and heard of different machines that had come out that allowed you to use the different chemicals. The Electrolux Lagoon. I know that some people pump chemicals into the Unimax and the Wascomats and so on and so forth. And I heard a lot of mixed reviews and saw different results from different places. No consistent or uniform belief in them. Some people said that they had tried it before. So, in talking with Billy Kincaid from Consolidated Laundry, he told me about a new machine that was coming out from Japan. And he said, I want you to come out to Kansas City with me and check it out. So we went out to Kansas City, and I hadn't even seen the machine run yet, but I saw the machine. And you could see the amount of attention to detail that was put into the machine. You could see the quality. You don't spend that much time, attention to detail, and effort on something that might or might not work. So at any rate, we got to see limited production through the machine, and I obviously saw numerous amounts of advantages for me to switch over from PERC, or the unions that I was running PERC out of, over to a wet cleaning process. But I wasn't completely sold on it. I wasn't sold on that process until I saw that you can wet clean and dry the clothes without the steam. I could have a gas dryer, or you can even have an electric dryer set up in there. So throughout the course of the day, you can continue to run production. That was, I think, probably the tipping point for me. But I think what got me 90% of the way there were the garments and what went in and what came out. We measured, some wool jackets, saw zero shrinkage. We threw a hodgepodge of colors in there in Kansas City. And it almost looked like one of those infomercials. At any rate, when I got the machines here and I yanked out one of our larger machines to put in, I yanked out an 80-pound union to put in a smaller 60-pound wet cleaning machine. But I had two dry cleaning machines, and you can still see one of them that's in there. And the thought or the theory in the process is if I can clean throughout the course of the day, I'll only need one machine. Because what a lot of people say is, first thing in the morning, as soon as the steam is turned on, I need to start dry cleaning. I need to start cleaning through everything that we had gone through throughout that we had taken in the previous day, so that way I can hurry up and get it out to the pressers, which creates a monopoly. Because if first thing in the morning you're running around and doing all that, you leave no room for error. So you have a monopoly on your first shift to your production manager. Whereas if throughout the course of the day, if you're cleaning and spotting through your clothes, hanging them up to dry, finishing them, or as soon as they come out of the wet cleaning machine, if you have the additional dryer or whatever, putting it in the dryer, getting it to about 20% dry, hanging it up for the rest. That way, first thing in the morning, when your pressures come in, their entire dry cleaning workload's in front of them, which is an advantage within itself. Because the pressers, it's so much easier to come into your job and say, when I finish this, I'm done, as opposed to here's another load and here's another load, and they're looking over their shoulder constantly, like how much more dry cleaning does he have? So at any rate, I've noticed production times go down. Well, also as I've been, probably by 15%, but as I've been running this machine, I went into it with blind eyes, but a completely open heart, and saying that I'm going to try this. I'm going to jump in. I'll jump off the deep end, because they said that I can put anything that I want to in this machine. And when I was dry cleaning, we had garments that we had to replace anyways through color transfer, through some color removal, and so I just said, if it doesn't work, I want to know what it can clean and what it can't clean. And out in Kansas City, we got a small taste of it, but I want to sit down to a whole buffet. So we threw everything inside the Yamamoto. Your wools, silks, we still separated colors pretty well through, you get those fancy colored garments, you still put them in the mesh bag. We ran loads of reds and pinks and oranges by themselves, so they had their own load to, try to reduce any type of color transfer and things like that. But we also have, some same day garments that'll come in, and we don't necessarily have full loads of stuff.
Right.
So, after running about maybe 10 or 15 loads, I said, if it's going to bleed, I want to know. Because I've been told you can mix colors, and so, every once in a while we have to throw in a darker colored gray item with some, some light tans and beiges and things like that. Zero color transfer. The clothes come out smelling excellent. I told you about the tie situation where we put them into the zip bag. I told you about the comforters with the cords. And the knitted wool. So 0% color transfer on everything, and we've run everything through here. For the past month and a half. Every single garment.
How many pieces do you do a day?
We do about 1,500 to 2,000 dry cleaning pieces a day.
So that's what you're putting through the wet cleaning process.
Yes.
Right.
Yes, sir.
So how often do you run your dry cleaning?
I might, the Union, I might run it 2 to 3 times a week, and that's just simply to do the comforters with the cords around them. Right. We'll throw some knitted sweaters in there at the same time. Maybe 2 to 3 times a week, that's it.
So it's sort of saving you some, it's going to save you on your replacement filters and your...
Yeah, well...
and your sledge haul away?
Yeah, without a doubt. Again, you basically have this glorified or extremely fancy washing machine. But you and I both know that it's a tremendous amount more than that. So basically, you have this glorified washing machine. So imagine throwing everything into your washing machine. How much maintenance do you do on your washing machine? If you've got quality washers, I've got a couple Unimax in there, and I can think of maybe in the past, 7-8 years, I might have spent $2 or $3 grand on each one a piece. And I bought them used. Right. I didn't buy them new. So they obviously, they don't owe me anything.
Right.
They're worth their weight in gold. But the difference between my Unimax and that Yamamoto is like going from a household washer to a Unimax. That's the difference. That's easily the difference that's of the quality that's in the machines. It's just night and day. We wash. We do all of our white shirts now in the Yamamoto because it uses a steam bath.
Right.
We've got that program set up in there. We get it up to about 140 degrees, and we would scrub the collars. But a lot of times, especially on those hotter summer days, you get quite a bit of grime behind there that's stuck in those fibers. The quality of the shirts as they come out is just night and day. All the grime that was stuck in behind the collars, we're shooting it with 140, 160 degree steam. All that grime that's sitting in the collars being lifted. A lot of the stains, that white shirts are a pain. Not to mention when you go through and you're finishing the shirts, some of the stains you might be pressing in. Also, when you take them over to the steam table, a lot of the stains on the white shirts, you're going to bleach them. Every time you break out that bottle of bleach, you increase your chances of getting it off getting that bleach onto something else. Yeah. And anybody who's used bleach, they've bleached something accidentally. They've gotten it on something accidentally. So if we've eliminated our white laundered shirt touch-ups by, I would say, 60 to 70% easily. We put our, you can also use it as a regular wash machine. So like your cold water wash, You know, your light-colored laundry shirts. This is a regular washing machine, so that's an excellent additional feature as well, because as I mentioned before, you know, in the past, you know, I've had a washing machine go down, and in the dry cleaners, you don't have like in a laundromat, you don't have rows of washers and rows of dryers. So to have that backup feature to say, all right, we're down a washer, but not really. We still have the Yamamoto that we can run things through.
And your redos are lower?
You're talking about the touch-ups?
Touch-up rejects and redos, customer complaints?
Customer complaints. I believe it or not, I'd say we have 75% less redos than we did on the dry cleaning side. Just zero color transfer, as I mentioned, zero chemical residue, zero chemical ring. The stains, we're noticing a lot of times people that have dry cleaners, they know that the perk machines, they're great as a degreaser, but as far as a cleaner, not so good. You know, you're gonna dry clean and you're gonna see the white powdery residue a lot of time that you end up having to hit with a steam gun or brush it with a fabric brush, something to the effect, in order to finish getting that food particle off.
Right.
And the other stains that you turn around and you look at, you know that if you could scrub it with soap and water, it would come up. So that's kind of the beauty of the machine, is you spot it with I spot it using my regular dry cleaning chemicals. And I don't know what anybody else uses, but that's what I do. I spot it with my regular dry cleaning chemicals. It goes in the Yamamoto, and my steam table garments, I'd say we're probably looking at 30% less steam table garments.
So it's saving you
time,
and labor, right? Yeah.
Time, money.
Okay, you're looking after the environment too.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. Without a doubt, that's obviously a side benefit to not having to deal with the EPA. Every year, them coming out here checking your stupid books, checking to make sure you have this perk snifter and you got the cleanup, and you spend all this money. And also the perk. The perk is a double-edged sword, because as a solvent running through those perk machines, it wears down. It eats the rings and the seals inside your valves, your valvolus, and there's nothing you can do to avoid it. So the replacement.
Feel eventually that you may phase your perk out altogether?
Yeah, without a doubt. I think over the next couple of years, I've only been doing this a month and a half, and there was no handbook that I could turn to say, or there wasn't anybody that I could call up and say, how do I do this?
Right.
So I was kind of, having to do a tremendous amount of groundwork. Right. I was jumping in with both feet and saying, I'm going to figure it out. And I feel like we're, from day number one, we're night and day. We're night and day better than we were from day number one. And we're a month and a half into it.
Yeah. Give me
another month and a half, 2 months. They say to truly learn something, it takes 10,000 hours of work, of practice. I don't think it's going to take quite that long, but I think in 2 to 3 months, I think you're going to be amazed at what we have learned on top of what I already know.
Right. So you made a good management decision when you decided to fly out to Kansas City, see it for yourself.
Right. It starts with trust. I think. I think you get comfortable with somebody, and a lot of times people are skeptical because there's a lot of gimmicks that are out there. There's a lot of the whole, wipe this on your headlight and it's going to restore it back to new, and you buy it and it doesn't work. It's crap. Anyways, with that analogy, you get comfortable with an equipment guy. That's the person that you buy from, and he's telling you about this new piece of equipment. But his information's even extremely limited about it, which was my case. Billy Kincaid knew very little about it. He just said, hey, listen, I got to get you out there to Kansas City to check out this piece of equipment. And when he got that excited about it, explained the benefits, explained the pros and cons to me, it got me excited. Because the theory of not having to deal with freaking safety cleans, safety clean and my all carbon filters and running my spin disc filters and running the recooper regeneration and cleaning out the stupid machine, cleaning out the still, cleaning out the water separator, cleaning out the button trap.
Right.
It was, you were chained to that machine.
Yes, you were.
You were chained to that machine. We had somebody who constantly maintained that machine. The other thing was making sure the oil reservoir was constantly filled. The Yamamoto, man, what? You got that little thing that screws on there. And
Only for 6 months.
yeah, right, right. Well, you got that little dial. I think they set ours on 9 months, but at any rate, that that little dial on the top.
Maybe six months.
I don't. Yeah. So maybe Danny didn't set it correctly, or maybe Russell didn't set it correctly. But at any rate.
But the big thing is very, very little maintenance on it.
Yeah, I haven't had to touch it. I know that the all-in-one with the steam, you got that vent that gets cleaned out. Yeah. Yeah, the lint trap. But I don't have an all-in-one. I have the the package, the side-by-side. Yeah. And I explained to you the benefits of that because it's like a washer and a dryer. You keep. I think you're out of it now. Hold on. I'd be willing to bet you're out of it. Yep. You're out of it.
I haven't moved.
I promise you were out of it. You'll see it when you replay it. There you go. I promise you were out of it.
Hopefully you're in it.
There's a whole lot of fucking talking.
For a while, eh?
There's a whole lot of talking.
Yeah.
Anyways,
well, you've done a good job.
Yeah, I appreciate it. The benefits of the machine obviously sell themselves. It's not a gimmick. It's not a sideshow. It's not one of those things that you can. It's not one of the things I think that logically you can overlook, because when I looked at the savings of the Yamamoto, it's tough times for dry cleaners right now. Let's call a spade a spade. You can't have crappy weather and have good business in the dry cleaning business. They go hand in hand. You get crappy weather, you get crappy business. You get good weather, you have nice weather, you have good business. But when I looked at the savings, so I looked at the expenditure of the Yamamoto, the OptiDry, Unimac residual control, moisture control dryer, and then I looked at the tensioning form finisher and the tensioning can top. So I looked at that expense. But I wrote that down on a piece of paper, and then I averaged how much I would also spend on the soap. And then I looked at my dry cleaning machine. I looked how much I spend on perk, how much I spend on filter cleaning, how much time I spend on those employees to clean out those machines, how much I've spent in repairs, and what I factored was in a year and a half the machine would pay for itself if I did 0 repairs, and that included my soap and everything. The other thing that I wanted to mention was my soap. Although I might bitch a little bit about the soap, my leather, you saw my leather guy come in there, right? Yeah. You saw him come in there earlier. He hasn't been in here since I started using that Yamamoto.
So he was coming to give you a river? He was coming to give you a river, find out what's happening?
Yeah, he's coming to find out how come have we started using somebody else, so on and so forth. Every single piece of leather has gone into there. And I told you that fur jacket, we hadn't wet cleaned it, but when Billy was here, we actually wet cleaned a fur jacket. So I have done a fur jacket.
Right. And it turned out satisfactory?
Oh yeah. I mean, I'd have told you if there was something that we couldn't do in there.
Right. So what's happening to your leather guy? He's not too happy, or is he going to bring his leathers across for you to do?
No, I don't think so. But it's obviously a nice luxury because I'm wet cleaning the leathers for what I do a dry cleaning piece for. But I'm still charging. But I'm still charging my leather prices. I think about. But I don't have to give it to somebody else and hope they don't lose it. Or hope they don't get somebody's stains out, or hope they press it correctly. Right? Yeah.
Because it's on you.
Right. And I felt this. I waited about a week after running the Yamamoto, because I was a little bit reluctant. But after a week, I said, "Bring it. Give it to me." I thought about putting everything in it.
Right.
And if there's something that I haven't put in there that somebody's got out there, I'll put it in.
Do you wash your leathers with something else? Or you just wash the leathers together, or you put them with other colors?
We do. We try to match the colors, obviously. So my black leather jackets. And good story is we had a black leather jacket that had mold on it. We spotted it with the Sakura Wet. Had mold on the bottom. Spotted it with the Sakura Wet. And a lot of times mold, I've never cleaned leathers before. I only know mold when it gets on, cotton and linen and things like that. Hey, good night. I mean, if you can get the mold out, you let me know what you're using, I'll buy it. So I didn't know what would happen once we had put it on the leather. All of it came out, and I have not had one person bring the leather back. As a matter of fact, the guy who had the mold all along the bottom of that black trench coat, he could not believe how well it came. I couldn't.
Did he pay you extra? You didn't charge him the cheap price.
No, I didn't.
Have you done a Letterman jacket?
Yeah. Oh yeah, with the wool and the leather together.
The colors come out beautiful.
They do. I can't think of, to be honest with you, I can't think of an honest disadvantage to the machine. The Yamamoto. I think once people, if you could set up like a mobile truck, and you could carry it out there to somebody and say, hey, listen, why don't you give me a load of your cleaning? Right? Give me a load of your stuff.
You're right.
I'm gonna throw it in here. I'm gonna wet clean it. I'm gonna put it in the residual control dryer, moisture control dryer, and then you're gonna touch it up and you're gonna finish it. Because a lot of people think that they need all this tensioning equipment, and that's not true. Because I don't. The tensioning equipment helps on the back end, so it helps for the finished quality of my product. And don't get me wrong, it doesn't come out of the Yamamoto looking like it comes out of the dry cleaning machine, but when it comes out of the dry cleaning machine, it's not cleaned like it is when it comes out of the Yamamoto.
Correct. Right.
So it looks like it's been cleaned, basically.
It smells like it.
Yeah, it's night and day. But if you took it out there to them, wet cleaned it, and then asked for them to touch it up and held their garments side by side, I don't think an unknowing person could tell the difference.
Right.
I don't think one person that didn't know the jackets, which jacket was wet cleaned and which one was dry cleaned, I'd be willing to bet money. My redos, I don't have people bringing stuff back saying, why is this wrinkled? Why is
customers?
Yeah. I don't have people bringing anything back, which is a good thing. You want to see your customers when they're dropping off and picking up. That's it.